there, everybody, and welcome to the Wealthy Lala Show with myself, Laurie Laursen. Today is episode 201. So, how does it get any better? Well, yesterday was Mother's Day, and it is really light in my world to talk about Mother's Day. It was interesting. Yesterday was actually the first Mother's Day. So I am 53. I have my oldest child is 31. It was my first Mother's Day that I celebrated with all three of my kids and my hubby. But the key thing is celebrated. So, have we been together on Mother's Day before? Yes. Have we actually celebrated it? Not really. I certainly got things from the kids when they were in school, and then they would bring things home and stuff like that. But when I married my hubby, he was raised in a family that was very, very pragmatic and just, they were very about working hard and, surviving. And so things like, Mother's Day, Easter, Valentine's Day, stuff like that weren't really acknowledged. They didn't have time for that. So they did acknowledge birthdays, Christmases, and that was pretty much, for the most part, what they did. And for me, I knew that about my husband when I married him, that I just knew that there was going to be something about that. So what I actually had said to him when we first got married was, you know what, if you remember our anniversary and my birthday, well, and of course Christmas, those are the ones that I would actually really like. Actually, my birthday and our anniversary in some form. And over the years, it's turned into where I actually just even want cards from him because he just does such fun cards. He will take, I think I talked about it on our show, the show around our anniversary. Like, he takes a card, it could be an old card, a new card, it can, he sort of adds to it or whatever, gives his own flavor to it. And it's just, I just enjoy them so much. And over the years too, I've also, what do you call it? Become more aware of what actually matters to me about these days. Not that it's Mother's Day because it says it's the first or second Sunday, the second Sunday of May, so we got to celebrate our mothers. What is it like for me with my kids all year round? And when I notice my kids, like my middle son, his gratitude for us and for me, when I watch his kids so that him and his wife can do whatever they need to do, whether it's for them individually or them as a couple. For my daughter who's, had a new baby, and the awarenesses that she's got around that, and just her appreciation for me and the things that I've done or whatever. And I know the same thing for our oldest son. And that's what actually really, really matters to me. And it was really interesting because yesterday, we all got together, and I know after the day, like sort of looking at the day and what a person could, did they all say Happy Mother's Day to me right away? No. Even my husband forgot to say Mother's Day till the end of the day, and we were together all day. It's actually kind of funny. But then when I just kindly brought it up to him that, hey, you know what? You actually didn't say Happy Mother's Day to me too. He was like, oh, I didn't? I was like, no. He's like, oh, well, Happy Mother's Day. And he gives me a beautiful, not because he had to, but because he wanted to, a beautiful hug and a thank you for being the mom of his kids. And then it was really funny because about 4 or 5 times later in the evening, he did it again. So it was actually really great. And so anyways, going back to the fact that it was the first time I got to celebrate with all 3 of my kids and my hubby, and we were there also with my parents and with some other extended family. it was just a really fun games day, and we sat out in the sun and we got to love up all the grandkids, and just it was really fun. Have some good eats and play some games. I actually got a new game called Yardsy, same as Yahtzee for any of you guys who don't know about that, but you can get Yardsy, so it's blocks and you play it just like Yahtzee. And so I had brought that, and so we did play that. That was really fun. Um, yeah. So it's a very introspective. Like I could go into way more detail about this. And one of the things I actually wanted to bring up, because this kind of triggered me well, not kind of, it did trigger me first thing in the morning. I had zipped onto Facebook for a little bit, and Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, had put a post yesterday morning on Facebook. And she actually said, this question was asked at a conference: how many of you are afraid of turning into your mother? And nearly every person in the room stood up. This is Elizabeth saying this, just so you guys know. This made my heart ache. My heart ached for not only the people in the room, who were all beautiful, creative, imaginative, and wonderful human beings. It made my heart hurt for their mothers, who will never stop being judged as failures. Because, my God, we never stop blaming the mothers, do we? How many years, how many dollars, how much energy have we spent as a culture talking about how mothers have failed us? What I want to say today is, can we take a break for just one day? Sorry, I went and I bumped it. Oh, where did it go? Can we take a break for just one day and show some mercy to the mothers? Because being a mother is impossible. I don't mean it's difficult. I mean it's impossible. What we are as a culture expect from mothers, what we as a culture expect from our mothers, is merely that they not be human. Mothers are meant to be some combination of Mother Mary, Mother Teresa, Superwoman, and Gaia. It's a merciless standard of perfection. And so anyways, if you guys want to go on Facebook, you can find the post yourself. She says, and if you're a mother and you never stop judging yourself for how you're failing, can you let it go for one day, just for one day? Can you drop the knife that you're holding at your own throat? Mercy, just for one day, let us find the mercy. Now, what was beautiful is, like, I read a bunch of the posts. There's like 1,500 posts on her thing. And that in it itself is also an education. Because, there's people saying, hey, I didn't have a cool mom. How do I give mercy to her? Or it's like, what about the dads? Like, we've put this huge expectations on moms, massive expectations on moms. And what about these dads that, just show up and provide money, and then they get put on this pedestal? And what about them? Like, it's like, we're just so grateful they showed up and they gave money, they did the best they could. And yet with moms, we want moms to be the provider and to be the nurturer and the carer, and they're not supposed to look after themselves, but they're supposed to look after themselves, but oh my God, like, you guys get where I'm going with this. And the part that had made me angry at first when I read it is that I too was kind of like, mercy, give mercy to my mother. I have not had an easy time with my mom. Do I know that my mom loves me? Yes. Was it always in a way that worked? I guess depends on whether you talk to her or you talk to me. And, has she done the best she could? For sure. And, one of the things I've realized in being a mother myself, and now watching my daughter-in-law and my daughter be parents and other people around me, is that we do have a crazy expectation on moms and what they should be or shouldn't be. And then, of course, even then, that's not right, because it all depends on who you talk to. One of the things that I've noticed the most, and that I know for me, is that when I read Elizabeth's post and I looked at what was actually true for me, is I don't actually expect any mother to be perfect. What is perfection anyways? But could they be real? Like, allow themselves to be vulnerable. Allow themselves to reach out. Allow themselves to put down their barriers and their pride and their rightness, and allow themselves to be human, like to be messy. You know, I was actually even watching a show on the Women's Network. I can't remember what that's called. Women's, you know, on TV. You know, they have all those romance, you know, movies. It's you know, they're good feel good movies every once in a while. It's just nice to escape into a feel good happy ending movie. And this one mom she was laying in her tent, and because they were camping, and she was crying, and her son came in, and he looked like he was probably about, well, I think they said he was like, say, grade 9ish or whatever in the program. And he was like, "Mom, are you okay?" And she like sucked all her emotion back in, and she rolled over and she goes, "Yeah, I'm fine." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And I'm thinking, that is one of the craziest things that we could do to like mess up. I'd swear right now, but I've chosen not to swear on these radio shows. I would swear right now is that is totally F dot 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 up. Okay. Like, seriously, that's messed up. And, you know, before we bought that, being prideful and having it all together was the way to be. And I find it just messes people up for them trusting themselves, trusting their knowing. Our kids are like so aware. They're aware mom's is not okay. And we like, no, 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 no. Of course I'm okay. Okay. So then they learn to doubt themselves. What a like let them show that you like show let yourself show them that you are real, that you're human, that you have a bad day, and that you're sorry. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean that you're going to be held for that, but that you're actually care enough to be vulnerable, to be so I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry that I came across that way. You know, I remember when you were younger, you know, when I did this keeps popping. When I did this impact you? You know, allow yourself or them to be freed from the guilt that us mothers walk around with. Let ourselves have the freedom to receive the humanness that we are, the imperfection, the beautiful imperfection that we are. And, you know, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he posted a video on Facebook yesterday too. You guys got to go find it. It was so wonderful. And he just said that, you know, men's brains and women's brains actually work different. And you know that a woman's brain actually, he watches it on brain scans. It lights up the whole brain all over the place. Because a woman's brain is automatically, when something is presented to herself, it looks into everyone's world who's going to be impacted and wants to try and make the best choice for each person. Like, holy mackerel. Now, we're already doing that by nature of who we be. I wonder if we could cut ourselves some slack and we could just acknowledge the beautiful, amazing, amazing, amazing beings that we be as women. Oh, God. You know, I've noticed, and I've noticed this without a doubt, the more real I have become, the more vulnerable I have become, the more open I have become with my kids. And let me tell you, it was not easy, because I too, you know, had kind of those beliefs like, you don't want to show them that side, you want to show like you have it together. And yet, you know, but the more open, vulnerable, and willing I've been to be messed up, to cry, to say I was wrong, do you know the greater my relationships have gotten with my kids? Hands down, it has gotten greater. And I tell you, that has made it, even though it was hard in the beginning, that has made it worth more than anything I can tell you. And you know what? This wealthy LaLa is freaking wealthy. The more real, the more vulnerable, the more open I become, the more the wealth of joy, connection, fun, happiness, blessed, gratitude expands in my life. So if you are a mom and you are listening to this, oh, I give you a big hug and cut yourself some slack. Let yourself be real. Even if it's hard, just do it. You know what? Just do it. Just go for it. And know that there are other women like myself out here that have got your back. And let me tell you, it will be so worth it for yourself. Love yourself. You are so beautiful. We are so amazing as women. Oh gosh, you guys got to find Dr. Joe's video too. It is so awesome. Anyways, thank you so much for listening, you guys. You have any questions, comments, ideas for shows you would like to book a session with me? thewealthylala@gmail.com.